Mary and I actually mentioned this on the podcast earlier today, which you can check out with some of our other season predictions.
And I
But
think you roasted me for it, Andrew. I hate to say it, but I think you were like, I don't think fatigue, like, I don't know, but
well, did I? I don't know. I don't remember. But I think he's right that fatigue probably is one of the biggest issues facing the Lightning because of how compressed the last season was, the short off season, and like Victor Hedman ended last season playing injured, right? Like we all remember that he was not 100% during the playoffs, and they have a core that seems to be able to play through injuries. I'm not worried about Nikita Kucherov at all. Like that doesn't concern me. But I think Vasilevsky is definitely the guy that they have to look at the most with the whole idea of load management, right? Which has come into other sports and been very successful, but hockey is very reticent to implement load management for their star players for whatever reason. Maybe part of the hockey culture that we don't like so much, and it just kind of burns players into the ground. I think the Lightning are smart enough to be able to pull that off, but I just don't think that they have the ability to do the same thing this year as they did the last 2 years because of the players that they've lost combined with the attrition and the games that they've had to play over the last couple of years here.
yeah, like you said, they lost like what? Was it their second line, third line? It was
Yeah,
basically
essentially
their
their whole
second.
second line.
It was basically their second line, yeah, that they lost, and that is a deep cut for any team, not just them being the reigning Stanley Cup champions. So that's definitely just something to look out for. I know we talked about it on the podcast earlier, but I definitely do not think that the Lightning can three-peat. It's so difficult to win championships, especially in hockey, because not to say that the sport is random or anything, but it is. You get into the playoffs and anything can happen. You know this. We've talked about this before, but it is just one of those things where it is so difficult to win championships, and to win back-to-back cups already is not to say a miracle, but is a testament to the Lightning strength as a team, because it felt inevitable. I mean, like what, we got into the playoffs, they rolled a whole bunch of people, and when we got to the Stanley Cup final, I was like, yes, this feels inevitable. But this year it doesn't. This year the floor feels more wide open. I'm willing to, see and give them a chance, but it definitely feels like their time as champions is coming to an end. But it was a very good run. It was a very good and fun run.
Yeah, absolutely. They're a fantastic team to watch. They bring that combination of skill and physicality that a lot of teams just can't match, right? And they have a great goaltender, and there aren't very many weaknesses throughout the roster. They'll have more weaknesses this year because as you win in the salary cap era, it gets harder to fit all of your players into that salary cap structure as well. Players go unrestricted and you become subject to their whims, and it's tough to keep the band together. The Lightning have done a really admirable job managing the salary cap so far, but they finally took some hits this year in the offseason. Even after trading Tyler Johnson, they're still up against it. So it's a tough go for them. I think that they're in that top tier of teams, but they're not above like they have been in the last 2 years. Whereas like you had your like Vegas, Colorado, and Lightning, but you always had the Lightning a little bit above them, and now they're back in the pack. I don't think they're not a contender, but it's just the last time somebody three-peated was the early 1980s. We've only had two teams win back-to-back cups since the Detroit Red Wings did it in the 90s, and that's the Penguins and the Lightning, both relatively recently. So maybe they can three-peat, but until it happens, I'm going to say it's just not possible.